Once again, I am back with another early access review. Today, we are taking a look at Rising Lords, a medieval turn-based strategy game with card and board game elements. As we all know, early access is a risk, but the reward can certainly be worth it. As a disclaimer, I did receive a free code from the publisher Whisper Games. While I appreciate the free code, it will not deter me from a fair and honest review. So when you start the game, you can start a tutorial, but so far it's only a YouTube video at the moment, and honestly, it doesn't even cover battles or combat at all, so there's a good portion that's just lacking on what the link provides. Hopefully they can update the video, get a new link out, or just have a proper tutorial. So you can do battles on the side, but the main game is based on scenarios. Basically, you set up the map and who your opponents are going to be. This can be played both single player and multiplayer, and you can also customize your character with various benefits and drawbacks. There's a good amount of options to choose from here, and I really do like this feature. Being able to customize, get a unique look, and having it provide its own benefits and drawbacks depending on what you have equipped. Once started, the game tells you that you need to farm for food and grain, so it basically does the job of the tutorial, and there's really no point in watching the video then. You drag your peasants to clear the area to make it a farm. It's very easy to learn and easy to grasp. Building buildings also works pretty much the same. You set what you want to build and you just drag units to build, as well as for any other job really. If you want them to mine to get resources, or if you want them to be on like a shepherd or something like that. Very easy to understand. And also for the buildings, you can also upgrade them and edit them with like walls and stuff. One of the issues that I was actually facing early on is that my population was struggling to increase, and you need your population to increase by 250 in order to gain new workers. But then I figured out what I need to do is I need to increase the rations, and because of this my health increased, and that in turn reflects the increase in the population. And that's when I learned that the health is very important, but it can only, from what I can see, be increased through rations and random events. And health gets harder to maintain with larger populations. So I wish that there was like a building to kind of give you like a small boost, probably like an herbalist or some sort of like medical building to sustain it, because it seems way too based on the food that you can produce. As you end each turn, the seasons change and the grain is harvested, planted, or attended to, which is basically your main food source. Your health also goes down during the winter significantly, and then rises back up, shoots back up like crazy. So it creates this effect where your population will just rapidly decrease and just increase in just a couple of turns. It's a bit annoying, and I wish there was a way to better balance the winter seasons and probably not take such a dramatic hit on your health. And as I mentioned before, there are random events that can occur, and the severity can be adjusted before the game, so you can make it that they're all beneficial or they're all very detrimental, or just keep them off entirely. I kept it on moderate, and the results definitely were crazy. None of the random events really are much of a detriment, because there's always things to kind of balance it. And one of those things is the merchant. This guy can come at random times. It doesn't seem to be really a set time on when he comes. But when he does arrive, you can buy the things that you may lose in random events, or you can sell the excess things you'll gain in random events as well. So you can easily gain a lot of money this way, and you can kind of abuse the system. If you make a lot of weapons, or if you get a lot of iron, you can sell it for a lot of bank and make that cash money, boy. Building up armies in this game is simple enough. You create the units and how many in each unit that you want, and as you do this, it instantly will drain your resources. Your happiness also goes down significantly as well, but this can definitely get back up quickly depending how happy you make your people, and happiness is something that's easy to maintain anyways, so it'll go up as soon as you are done with the army. And once you come in contact with another army or a garrison, the battles can be done manually or by the AI. Unfortunately, there really is no bar to indicate your chance of winning your battle against the AI, so you kind of just have to go with the numbers and what you have in terms of the quality of units. So as you go into the battle, you have to place your units before the battle. And the combat here is turn-based combat that's very reminiscent of Heroes of Might and Magic, almost exactly like it, with morale and criticals, and also just the symbols that are used reminds me so much of Heroes of Might and Magic. It's ridiculous. The cards are also drawn and they can be used for various effects. Some are good and bad, obviously. Some are more beneficial in other circumstances than others. So far, the combat works well enough, but I do have two big problems. One, the frame rate drops when the AI makes a move. It's like it uses all processing power, and it's really noticeable every time. They really need to optimize this game because it really should not be chugging on stuff like this. I'm always afraid that the game is just gonna crash. And also, as I mentioned before, the tutorial video doesn't cover combat at all. So there is a setting for battle timer, and even if it's off, the battles end in 10 rounds. So because of this heavily favors the defenders, even if I do have more units, and I do wish you can adjust this. So this is the basic loot of gameplay. You just build up your towns, attack other towns, take over the territory, and move forward. While it is okay, there's not much in terms of depth for replay playthroughs, especially against the AI. And honestly, after one scenario, you really just have seen it all. And even AI on harder difficulties doesn't really play smarter, it's just more of a buff, so it's really not exciting gameplay wise in that regard. And there really is just no urgency for the AI to build up armies. It feels like you can just turtle, especially on the lower difficulties. It really only gets interesting for repeat playthroughs if you're going to play against human opponents, just because of the human nature and unpredictability of it. Now the game is aesthetically nice, and it reminds me of Battle Brothers, and honestly I'd rather go play Battle Brothers as well. I'm not going to review that game most likely, but go play that. It's much better than this game. The music also here is really good, and honestly I would buy the soundtrack if I could. As with many early access games, you have your early access bugs and issues to be expected, and the biggest issue, as I mentioned before, are the freaking frame rate drops. It just happens during battles, and every time you end your turn outside of the battles. It's annoying. I've already had some hard crashes to deal with, but thankfully there is a system to send your bugs reports to developers, so it's much appreciated. I haven't heard back. I've sent one last week and I haven't heard back or anything, even though I wrote my email. So I just assume that they are looking at it, but who really knows? Either way, it's a much appreciated feature. Overall, it's really hard for me to recommend this game unless you plan on playing with your friends. The gameplay is just not compelling enough for single player just due to the AI, and also just for the common loop of it all. The graphics and music are nice though, and the game does feel feature complete for the most part. So as of now, I can't really recommend that you support it unless you want to play multiplayer with a bunch of guys. Other than that, I would say pass on this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Please stay safe, stay inside, do whatever you need to do. And as always, this is Powerhouse, signing off.